Hello. Namaste. Hope you're well. You know, waking up in life, yeah, is my own personal experience of what goes on, right? You know, I was sort of one of these characters. I was out there. I was head first into everything. You know what I mean? And I had a lot of fun with it. But you have a hell of a lot of moments when you're like, oh my gosh, what am I getting up to? What am I doing with myself? Yeah. And you're doing a lot of things unaware. You know, Jesus said it best when he said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And that is so true, yeah? Because we're running around like headless chickens. We haven't got a clue. And this was another thing that was brought to me about enlightenment, okay? Now, when you're living in the dark, and then the other word for that is ignorance, although I find ignorance is a little bit of a harsh word because the word ignorance has kind of been, it's like almost detrimental, you know, like, oh, you're ignorant. And it's said with harshness, well, but ignorance is really truly just being unaware and unknowing towards a lot of things. So it's not something a word we should throw around harshly. It's something that should be, you know, expressed with care and concern, because it's like, man, they're ignorant to the outcomes of these sort of things. But you know, when you're unaware of stuff, and what it is, living in the dark is say this whole area, and you're living in the dark, and you walk around and you bang yourself and you hurt yourself, and you walk into things and you don't know it's there because the light ain't on. You're not been enlightened to it. But when you do bang yourself into it, ideally it has switched a little light on. It's exposed something to you, and it might take you 2 or 3 times or quite a few times until you realise that thing there is going to do me some harm. So, you know, that's in living in the dark, being a bit ignorant. And as you slowly wake up in this life, and that waking up can be quite quick. I mean, it took me a few years, you know, and I personally just got to a place where I was like, oh my, I got to sort myself out. And my wife at the time, my partner at the time, got me a book called The Magic, and it taught me about gratitude, and it led me on to doing lots of reading and lots of, you know, sparked my interest in philosophy and theology and religions and all this, that and the other. I just couldn't get enough of it, and then I started waking up to the ways of the self, like the ways to our personalities, to our egos, to this falseness about us, this insecure way about us that's always trying to put on this image, trying to put on this face, trying to live up to everyone else's expectations and ways, and being cool. I mean, I always felt like I was a bit detached from that, because I was always that bit more natural with the way I went about myself. So I didn't really care about others. I was just like, I'm just going for it, and I put myself through loads, you know, and it got to the point where I had to sort myself out, and upon doing so, I've awakened up to the way lots of things are. And when you wake up, all of a sudden it's quite hard to be okay with a lot of things, you know what I mean? Because it's like, man, you know, you see through everything, you know, nothing stays the same anymore, you know. You realise that it's just a lot of all small talk. It's all about stroking one's ego. And it's like, well, where now? What do I do with myself now? And that's why I'm doing all this stuff, you know what I mean? I do all this stuff. I just try and share what I've learned, and ideally it's, you know, I've put quite a lot of shorts out, and ideally what it does is going to help any of those, or anyone that's struggling with a bit of life, to sort of make sense of stuff, you know what I mean? So anyway, as I say, the challenges of waking up can really be quite a, you know, it's not glory, you know, all of a sudden you become enlightened, you know. It's not like you're walking around like Jesus weren't walking around happy. He'd like exposed to everything, and look at the way he, you know, what he had to go through with what he'd learned, because the ignorance and the dark don't like it, you know what I mean? It wants to shut you down, like the way the system and the governments and all this that's run. It's kind of like, mate, they don't want you opening up and waking up to it all, because it's as corrupt as hell. It's just corrupt, and it's run by so many people. I mean, over here in New Zealand, the second in command of the police, Yevon McSkimmon, his name is, he's been found with bestiality and pornographic stuff. I mean, he's the second in command of the police, right? And it's like, mate, the apple don't fall far from the tree. If you're meant to be detectives and police, and this guy, there was attention on this guy from people that was talking about him, mate, and they're covering it up. You know, the whole system's riddled, yeah, with filth. So once you start waking up to all this stuff, mate, it's not pleasant. All right, so don't expect, like, you know, all to be daisies and roses and all that, because that ain't going to be what it is. It's going to be like, shite. You know, there goes my fun for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? And all you can do is, what's happened is you carry yourself with strength and dignity and integrity and the way you be, but you're just not weak to everything, and it's okay, you know what I mean? Just enjoy the flowers and the beauty of nature, all right? And me, you can enjoy me if you like. But anyway, that's enough. From mine to yours, I hope this resonates. If you like it, you can always like and share, but all the best, all right?